Power hour. It's the what? Power hour. It's the who? Power hour. Yeah. Blacks, Hispanics, and natives. Power hour. It's the what? Power hour. It's the who? Power hour. Yeah. Blacks, Hispanics, and
So it says, now in 1934, within weeks of an island-wide labor strike, the president of this bank had sent a special envoy, his own son, as the chief of police of Puerto Rico. This friendly neighborhood cop, with millions of dollars and thousands of armed men at his disposal, had just invited Albizu for a sit-down.
Sit-down.
El Escambron Beach Club was Puerto Rico's most spectacular private resort. It is Mar-a-Lago. The restaurant sat on the water's edge with breathtaking views of El Morro, Fort San Cristobal, and the San Juan beachfront. A horseshoe-shaped boardwalk extended out over the water right into the ocean to create the largest outdoor pool in the world. Letting you know that he was not in a home, that even though this place was in Puerto Rico, this was their little paradise in Puerto Rico, right? All these details are important so you can understand what he was walking into.
On his land.
Because you deal with that feeble mind that sees this, and you will get enticed by this stuff. And you be like, damn, this is how these guys live. I want some of this. It'll break that revolutionary spirit, leading up to when we get to that Ecclesiastes 7 and 7 and so on, right? It was staged. He could have met him anywhere. Why did he meet him there?
Because imagery is everything.
The imagery is everything.
He wanted him to see that.
Yeah, right. He wanted to entice him.
You know what he wanted to let him know? You see, I'm in charge, right? On your land, your island.
This could be you.
Yep.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
He did a Sosa and Tony Montana.
That's what it was.
That's what he
That's
did.
what it was from Scarface. He showed him all that.
Showed him that.
So he says, on January 18th, 1934,
That's a good one.
as he walked into El Escambron, Albizu noticed many U.S. Navy officers in this beach club, several local businessmen, 2 members of the Puerto Rican Senate, and Fay Ray, the Canadian-American actress, most famous for playing the female lead in 1933's King Kong.
You know what that was about.
Yep, they was lining it up for him. Riggs sat at a corner table in military regalia. Appearance is everything. He was dressed up in a white tunic with gold buttons, large epaulets, and a splash of medals on his chest.
He was letting him know, don't get comfortable because I'm in charge.
He shook Albizu's hand heartily. In a flurry of busboys, waiters, and sommeliers, they ate a splendid lunch and discussed the Golden Gate Bridge, the Spanish Civil War, Noel Coward's design for living, and Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak. Everything but the sugar strike. Their waiter spoke English and listened attentively. Finally, Riggs came to the point. He asked Albizu what he thought about Luis Muñoz Marin. Remember, that's the one that they called in to take the Senate seat. That he was moving for. Like I said, that guy has his own history. Laws will eventually go over it. To whom the nationalists had recently lost the Senate election. Then he offered to donate $150,000. Don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. He heard about the speech. He heard about how he was rallying and uniting the people.
Buy him off.
And they went in early. They went in early and hard. Listen to everything they offered him. Then he offered to donate $150,000 to the Nationalist Party to ensure that Albizu won the Senate seat that year or in 1936, and to make Albizu governor of Puerto Rico within 10 years' time. Miller Tidings, a good friend who owed Riggs a few favors, was about to chair the U.S. Senate Committee on Territories and Insular Affairs. Tidings could sponsor a bill allowing Puerto Rico to elect her own governor, and Riggs could ensure that Albizu got the job. So he was tempting him even with a little bit of the freedom that he wanted. Right? Remember, Bo, what they didn't remember about this guy was that he said he was rallying for the unconditional return of the island. Not give me a little, right? Don't set me up as a figurehead here, and I still got a pander.
That's what it was going to be.
To you guys and pander to Big Brother.
Set me up.
That's what it was going to be.
In exchange, Albizu would back down and let Riggs take care of the strike. If Albizu refused the deal, Riggs would take the offer to Muñoz Marin. Albizu rose slowly, thanked Riggs for lunch, and told Puerto Rico was not for sale, at least not by him. Man, that thing was, my hair stood up on that because, man, that's a strong spirit, man.
Yeah, man.
That you want to talk about committed, but
Right. That's what Christ told Satan.
Right.
When he showed them all the kingdoms of the world
Right.
at
Oh,
once.
damn.
That is exactly what he said.
That's exactly
Man
what
cannot
it
live by bread alone.
He said, no, man.
He said nope.
If
He
you
said
would
nope.
only bow down and worship me, all this could be yours
Yep.
because it's given to me.
Yep. Hey, and you know what? Obviously, there's a lot that goes into why Christ said no, but Christ knew that he was going to be the king of a
Exactly.
greater kingdom,
Exactly.
one that would not fail.
Right.
Albizu understood that too. Because remember, his upbringing and what he saw when he was in America made him realize, I can't roll with these dudes.
Right.
This is why it had to be unconditional. Give us our independence without your involvement at all,
Right.
because the stuff you do decays us.
You-
The stuff you do
Right.
stagnates us, right? Which is really decay.
You know what's heavy about that? Because, I'm sure that there's thousands of our people that were bribed, that they sought to bribe. That's not in history books. Just ordinary brothers and sisters that would not sell out. And they did not know what we know in terms of the Bible, like what we was talking about with Christ. Christ knew that he was going to get it all and all that. And we know that because we know the prophecies. But a lot of our brothers and sisters back in those times, they did not know that when they could just go in there in the Bible and find it.
Yep.
But in their spirit, they know that it's not right to sell out. And that's what makes us a special people.
Right.
That's in us. We don't just gravitate towards evil because we know that there's a day of reckoning.
Yes.
That's the spirit that the Most High put in us.
Hey,
And they don't even have this here, but that little inertia spirit of knowing that there is a day of reckoning, that if I just go out and just do that.
And that's what differentiates a revolutionary spirit from a
Exactly.
pretender. That's what initiates somebody who's in it for the novelty.
Exactly.
That's what differentiates somebody who replaces Christianity or whatever denomination you were in with this, and somebody who's really out there being revolutionary for his people, for his or her people, right? So now I want to get Ecclesiastes 7:7, because what the way I looked at this, and you might have a different way you want to bring this out, Deke. The way I looked at this was, they knew these tactics, and this is why the Most High has several scriptures that deal with gifts, because it was actually a law. I got some precepts in Exodus and in Deuteronomy that it was a law not to receive gifts in these type of matters, because it knew it would skew your judgment in dealing with matters.
Exactly.
So my point is they enticed him with this, because not just how profound it was that he walked away from that, not being a biblical man as far as knowing the scriptures, right? That's profound in and of itself, all right, with all that was around him in temptation, but that they knew exactly what to offer this guy. They offered him almost everything he wanted, but it was still with them in charge. So let's get Ecclesiastes 7:7 real quick.
This the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
And Puerto Rico is oppressed to this day, and even more so then. And this made him mad. Not just insane like Deep Bears out. He was angry. This is why he was able to speak with the fervor that it spoke about. This is why he was able to walk away from this. Because he wasn't going to let this little carrot that they dangled in front of him. All right. Remember, he saw all this stuff in Boston and Harvard and all these things and all the way they lived. He understood what Riggs was about and what their banks were about. He went to Cuba, Panama, Venezuela, all these countries.
Ireland. To see how he saw things.
He saw and he knew. They thought they knew who they were messing with, but they didn't know who they were messing with. They knew that, and this is why eventually they resorted to, we can't win this guy over, so we got to break him. And we can't kill him because then we make him a martyr. So we're going to lock him away and torture him till people forget about him. And people have forgot about him to this day, because not even Dr. Sanchez really knew about this guy.
Hell is this?
Not even he knew about this stuff. A lot of people don't understand. Yes, we did have revolutionaries. It's in our people. It's the same type of spirit that was in our Israelite forefathers to be revolutionary and rise up and fight against these powers that be. Like the scripture says, who's going to fight and rise up against me, against these evildoers?
Hey, and check this out. Esau is so deep in their thoughts. The same way they took out the most powerful ruling Edomite empire from the Bible, that's exactly what they did with this man, because that's their history. What we just experienced and just read about here, that's their history. They're proud about this. This has been passed on to generations, this man, but it's been buried, like we were talking about last night. about the Puerto Rico, the flame of resistance.
Yep.
Their worst, they have to bury things.
They got to play whack-a-mole.
They got to play
Because
whack-a-mole.
Any thread of truth coming up could just wreck everything. So they got to run all over the earth trying to make sure
That's
that a piece of truth don't pop up.
That's a great
Because they
example.
might find it.
That's a great example. It's whack-a-mole
Yes,
for them.
Hey,
whack-a-mole
that's
for
why
them.
that's why they went in early.
Yeah.
They went in early on this guy. He hadn't even accomplished anything yet. They just saw the stirrings and rumblings of him uniting the people. And that made them come with this offer. Read the rest of this verse.
And a gift destroyeth the heart.
They notice.
Mm-hmm.
They notice.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that. They said, we're going to take him off his game. We're going to offer him a gift. We're going to give him all this. And, hey, you could get with Faye Ray, who's over there in the corner. Right? That's how they rolled with that thing. Let me get Exodus 23:8. Exodus 23:8. This was a law for our people. All right?
Damn.
This was a law for our people. All right, Solomon mentions it here in Ecclesiastes, but why? He didn't just pull that out the air. He understood this. Go ahead, read.
This the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 8. And thou shalt take no gift,
Thou shalt take no gift. Why? Come on.
for the gift blindeth the wise.
The gift blindeth the wise. So I like this precept because it expounds more on what Ecclesiastes 7:7 says biblically. When it says it destroyeth the heart, he gives more details here. It says, for the gift blindeth the wise. It was a commandment that we should not take the gift because it blinds the wise. Come on.
And preserveth
And perverteth
the words of the righteous.
and it will pervert your words. That's the perversion of words that happen when these people get into Senate seats, when they get into, it's Trick Baby. It's that scene from Trick Baby.
Exactly.
You target the most intelligent of them and don't let them do for their people, and you bring them into subjection to our thoughts and our ways. And he says in that scene, and for all intents and purposes, he's one of us. For all intents and purposes, he's one of us. This is why it's so important that we do not let gifts destroy the heart. Let me get Deuteronomy 16:19. Right? Let's expound on it a little more. Deuteronomy 16:19.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 19. Thou shalt not wrest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift does blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous.
So this one says in the last verses, it says the same thing we read in Exodus, but it talks about not respecting persons and not resting judgment. Because why? A result of taking that gift will wind up making you err in your judgment. You'll rest judgment. You won't judge wisely. And what does it do? It puts a respect of person spirit on you and how you roll in this. One more, Proverbs 15:27.
And this is the laws.
Right.
These are laws.
Right.
These are not suggestions, because the end result never turns out good if you go contrary to this.
Right. And it's good you say the end result, because guess what? With Proverbs 15:27 going to talk about one of the results of that.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 27. He that is greedy of gain.
Greedy of gain. Greedy of gain. They allured him at the beach club. They showed him all this stuff. He dressed in all this regalia. They offered him all this stuff because they said, he's an animal. He's going to be greedy of gain. We can take this guy over, right? It says, he that is greedy of gain, what happens?
Troubleth his own house.
Troubleth his own house. They knew if they got him in the pocket. Remember, based on all that financing, this was the reason we read that whole history of what the Riggs Bank was about, was to let you know that this was standard operating procedure for them. This is how they dealt with revolutionaries. This is how they dealt with people that they didn't want in office. This is how they maintained their power. They offer you a little something. Listen, like we always bring out, if you have a cracker and then you put some cheese on that cracker, you think you on the come up. And what they offer you is never going to be the same seat at the table as them. They give you crumbs. It's still crumbs. Read on.
But he that hateth gifts shall live.
Why? Because you'll have your identity. You'll have your purpose. You'll have your drive. You'll be that committed butt. And the life that it's talking about is that eternal life. You will obtain the kingdom of heaven because you're going to fight for it. You're going to live right for it. That's that righteousness that belongeth unto God. You will not get confused with your face. A result of taking this and taking those bribes would have destroyed everything. Would have destroyed everything. Now, we understand the Most High had this set up for a certain reason. So while they made some strides in Puerto Rico, ultimately, it's still a colony to this day, right? And They were very successful at hampering his legacy, but this is why it's important that we bring things like this out and then reference the scriptures so we can see the difference is we're on the side of a fixed fight. We do this way, the way the Most High God says how we need to roll and do it. We know that victory is assured. Maybe not in our lifetime, but as far as in this present one that we're in, but we know that victory is assured. We know that victory is assured.
See, Esau understands there's power in words, right? There's power in words, okay? Something as simple as the pursuit of happiness makes somebody who don't have anything, but let's face it, this is theirs right now, right? It's all there. Makes the mere person, meaning us, right? Because again, like you've met, it's only positive and negative, right? Good and bad, yin yang, right?
it.
Okay,
Right.
Jacob and Esau.
Right. Exactly.
That's what
That's the whole-
that's
the
what
whole
life
thing.
is all about.
Exactly.
All the other nations, they just playing
Right.
supporting actors
Right.
in this.
They're gonna either follow when the wicked is ruling. They're gonna follow the wicked.
Right.
When we rule, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to bow
Absolutely.
down.
There's no two ways about it. That's all it is. So the mere fact that they will present things like this, they understand, they've already conditioned us that it's you're not going to get things easy, but we can give it to you easy. Just like you brought out, like Satan and the encounter with Christ.
That was an excellent. That was fire right there when you brought that out. I see you were jotting stuff down, so go ahead, D.
Well, the gift, that part in there about what the gift do, that Proverbs you was reading in 15.
Proverbs 15:27.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 27. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house,
Read
but he that hateth gifts.
that part right there. He that hateth gifts. The question is it truly a gift, or is it a means to blind you from the reality?
Right.
That's
Good
what
point.
it is. It's not a gift.
Nope.
It is a subterfuge that
Yep.
that blinds you from the reality, and it causes you to misrepresent reality of oppression. When all of a sudden you ain't oppressed no more, because the acknowledgement of oppression will drive you to revolutionary thinking, and that's the reason why that. Go back to that.
Ecclesiastes.
The
7.
Ecclesiastes. That's the point that I want to make about it.
Mhm.
That Ecclesiastes, that's the reason why it says what it says here. Oh, surely oppression. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Read
This
it.
the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression.
He didn't say maybe,
Mm.
because the reality of oppression, you feeling it, and it is put on you to drive you to retool your thinking. Read it.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
A wise man is going to take his anger for the oppression and turn it into revolutionary organizational structuring and moving forward, because he wants to get from under the reality of oppression, which the gift was trying to blind him from it. And he said, I'm not taking that. I understand I'm in captivity. This is the reason why I'm in captivity, and this is what I need to do to get out of captivity. And the wise in me is gonna cause me to follow these scriptures, because this is my ticket out.
Right. Hey, that I want to read a line from last week. It was page 113. If you don't have it, it's fine. After he went through all this stuff, right? I'll read a few sentences here. Remember, it said he traveled around. He volunteered to. Oh, that's the other part we forgot. He volunteered to enlist to fight in World War I. This guy learned a lot about his enemy, right? It says when he got back from all of that, from everything he saw and everything he witnessed, he went back to law school in 1919. It says Albizu had made a decision because he saw all this oppression, right? Like what you're bringing out now, Deke. And he said no matter how many degrees he earned, or how many times the people at Harvard patted him on the head, he would never be one of them. The United States would never take him, his people, or his homeland seriously. In fact, the Americans couldn't even spell or pronounce his island's name. So to give meaning and purpose to his own life, Albizu devoted himself to the cause of Puerto Rican independence. The oppression drove him
Exactly.
to have meaning and purpose in his life.
Exactly.
That
That's the
drove
point.
him to fight for his people.
That's that's a revolutionary. That's a person that loves
Right.
his people. That the gifts
Right.
were not going to rule his heart.
Exactly.
That hateth gifts, like Proverbs 27,
Right, right.
15:27 says. That's a person that hateth gifts.
Lego.
Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We
got
back.
the nations running scared because Israel is back. All eyes on us, cause we keeping them laws.
Keeping them
when the
laws.
Lord return, Babylon will
Babylon
fall.
go
Precepts solid.
Solid.
We got them on lock.
Got 'em on lock.
God's chosen people with Christ as our rock. Israel is back.
We back.
Israel is back.
We back.
You heathen, get ready for our whip to crack.
Damn.